guys, welcome back. It's Shelby, and today we are turning kind of like a cheap little mirror into something that you can put on your vanity and make it look cute. So I got this at the dollar store. It's just like a little plastic mirror. It comes in this casing like this. So basically just rip that off. And you have this kind of cool looking mirror. I mean, it's a great shape for the vanity. It's a good size. The mirror's gonna reflect all sorts of weird things, but that's the front. My only problem with this is like, I like, you know, the like little detail in the plastic. It's like a stamped plastic mirror and it looks really cool. And on camera, it actually looks a lot better in real life. It looks like it might actually be metal on camera. It's plastic. So it's that shiny kind of silver plastic, which looks like shiny silver plastic. I mean, props for trying to look metal, and it's $1. So it's super cute for $1, and you can't beat the shape and the size. Like, it's really pretty. It's just a perfect little like hand mirror for the vanity. But what I want to do is make it look a little bit more like actual metal, maybe something a little bit more antique-y, so that it does look really cute on my vanity, you know, dresser, because I use my dresser as my vanity. But something that looks like it might actually be metal. So that's what we're doing today with just a few items, mainly paint and some brushes. I'm going to start with kind of a gold paint and paint it on, not completely opaque, and then kind of go in with some darker colors and buff that around, and hopefully we can get something that looks like an actual like sterling silver or actual silver mirror for the vanity. So that's what we're doing today. I will link everything you need down in the description below if you want to make your own. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to do that. I will link everything you need along with my socials down in the description below, and let's get going. So I'm starting out with a kind of pale gold paint. This one's not super opaque. It is acrylic. I just got it at Target. It was actually in the Easter egg decorating aisle. But yeah, you can see it's very kind of almost translucent. When you paint it on thin, it basically disappears. So this is the one I'm starting with, just to add a little bit of highlights to the metal. And I'm going to go back in with my usual gold acrylic paint, which has a little bit more coverage, and it's also a little bit more of a true metal look. Whereas this is almost like a happy, kind of sparkly, shiny golden yellow, if anything else. But you can see the silvers moving through, so this is really just painting on to get the kind of highlights and kind of camouflage that super shiny, fakey kind of plastic look with just a base coat of different color metallic paint. Next up, I'm going in with my usual gold acrylic paint, which is a little bit brassier and a little bit more opaque. So it's just a slightly different shade. It's not that bright kind of cheery yellow. It's just a little bit more metallic looking, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm painting it in over all the nooks and crannies and just over the design and pattern and on the regular metal too. I'm just brushing it out a little bit thin, not super thick and opaque, and not thin enough that it's, you know, wiping it off completely. It is smooth plastic, like it does wipe off fairly easily, but just leave a slight coat. You can see the silver is still showing through on some parts. So yeah, basically just add enough gold until you're happy with the look. I'm going for kind of a dual metal look. You know how like when silver starts to tarnish a little bit, it almost turns slightly yellow as it's turnishing. So that's what I'm going for with the gold. It's not strictly to disguise the silver. It's more just like as a way to age it a little bit. And I'm doing the exact same thing on the front as I did on the back, which is painting it gold. It's a little bit tricky around the mirror itself. I want to get the brush close enough to the glass that it looks like it's actually metal going up without actually, you know, taking time to bother and put paper and tape and everything over the glass, because it's $1 and, you know, that just seems like a lot of effort. So just carefully going around it and getting the gold in all the little nooks and crannies until the front looks just as good as the back, and then let that dry. So this is what we're looking at so far. It's kind of a cool patina. I did gold over the silver plastic, but the gold is not 100% opaque. So you've got the silver kind of coming through a little bit, and it creates this really cool effect. I'm not sure it's like really picking up on camera. It looks a little bit just solid gold on camera, but it's a really cool kind of mixed metal effect. Next, I'm going to be going in with a little bit of Payne's Gray. It's basically black. and kind of putting it in with a brush, which I'm going to be getting wet so that this does not completely cover the whole thing. Just kind of get in the nooks and crannies and make it look a little bit tarnished and a little bit older. So basically we're doing the same thing with the black or gray that we did with the gold. I'm thinning it out with water on the brush to make it really nice and thin, so it's just a very light coating, kind of dulling out the silver and the gold that we put on there, make it look a little bit more aged and like it's seen its fair share of, you know, household wear and tear and is just getting a little bit older. Now before that really has a chance to dry, I'm going to go in with a dry foam brush and just kind of wipe it down a little bit. Kind of buff it off the areas that are raised so that it stays in the nooks and crannies. And what this does is basically anytime you touch metal, you touch the exposed raised parts. So those are the parts that are going to be shiny and fresh, and it's the tarnished parts that are going to be the parts that don't get touched very much. So they're going to be the little nooks and crannies that your fingers can't get in. So I'm just using this to simulate that wear and tear, letting the dark paint stay in the nooks and crannies and the foam kind of brush clean the areas that are exposed. And then I'm going to get my brush wet again and go in with another coat. So same thing as the first time, I have a wet brush and I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on it and just add it to the parts of the mirror that have a lot of kind of raised texture to them. Kind of paint a little bit of black in there. You got to work pretty quickly. It's acrylic, it dries fast. And then put it on the back here because that's a pretty flower motif. And the more fine the detail, the more darkness you want in there, like these big places that your fingers could actually get into. It's okay to leave those a little bit more golden. Take the dry foam brush and just kind of work the very tops of the filigreed plastic. This also gives a lovely kind of burnished effect to the gold. It kind of tempers it down and makes it look a little bit more aged as far as the color itself goes. I'm doing a bunch of different strokes. I'm going up, down, sideways, circles. Basically, I want to eliminate any brush strokes in it because that's what makes it look fake. I just want it to look like it's had years of use. So no discernible brush strokes are allowed. And since it's acrylic paint, it will dry and eventually you will stop moving color around. At that point you can stop. And I think I've hit that point. So it's nice and dry now. I'm not gonna leave any fingerprints in it. You can kind of see what it did as far as an effect. The camera's kind of picking it up. It looks a lot cooler in real life, so that's a shame that the camera won't pick that up. But it just kind of looks kind of like starting to tarnish silver with like that gold reflection. So it's not the like super cold plasticky silver that we started with. It's more like a kind of ancient sterling silver that's been in the cupboard for a while, so it's muted and just starting to pick up a little bit of that kind of wear and tear tarnish. So we're gonna flip it over and do the front. Ta-da! So you can see just like from the back to the front, big difference in the color still. So this still looks pretty shiny and fresh. Same thing, wet brush and a little bit of gray paint. So we're doing the same thing we did on the back, wet brush, gray paint, and paint it in all of the recessed areas. Special attention to the part around the mirror you don't want to paint on the glass. I rinsed my foam brush out, but I don't know. I got most of the moisture off. It should still work. Just gonna get kind of the excess and then do the rubbing pattern. Don't want to take too much of the black away. Sorry, the mirror's kind of wobbling while I do this. I really don't want to like hold it and leave fingerprints. So I'm trying to go lightly so it doesn't move too much, but And I am trying to get in the nooks and crannies a little bit so that we don't have the marks of the paintbrush, but I don't want to stick this too far down in there because the point is to leave the black where your fingers can't touch, so I'm trying to keep kind of a flat edge so that it won't go down where your fingers couldn't touch and kind of rub the metal nice and shiny. There we go, that looks pretty good. We'll leave that to dry and see what we've got left over. Okay, so here is how it turned out. I think it turned out really well, actually. I'm super pleased with this. So can you see what I mean about the like the finish? Like, it just looks a little bit more like actual silver, tarnished silver, but I think that lends like a little bit more legitimacy to the look, actually, because let's be real, I'm not polishing silver every single day to make it look like silver. So a little bit of tarnish definitely, I think, makes it look more realistic. You can see kind of the detail in the handle, but I do really like the detail in the plastic, especially for $1. Like, this is a really great little mirror you can purchase, and in, you know, 5-10 minutes plus paint drying time, you can have something that looks really cool. And I mean, when it's just sitting there, like, nobody knows it's plastic. Like, it's cute. I love it. So here's the front. I'm gonna like do that in the mirror so you don't get crazy reflection, but it's basically the same as the back, only where the flowers are is a mirror. I think this is great. I think this turned out really well. So yeah, I hope you guys did too. Go ahead, let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and I love to see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.